Cars you're going to love in gear.
Thursday nights at 9 here on Channel 7.
What do daffodils do? They laugh at winter and spring right through. If they turn rainy skies sunny, then I can try to.
I'm 7 years older than I was then, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm cured. Almost every day I sing. I feel like I want to do everything, try everything. I think it's because I've changed from just hoping to believing.
They make a path for me to follow. If I made a promise, I color it yellow.
I feel the same optimism as Ray Ellen. Research is blossoming with many wonderful possibilities. We're really confident that we will beat cancer. It's going to take time, but from now on, every dollar we invest will find more progress than ever before.
That's what daffodils do.
Hi, this is Ron McLean, Hockey Night in Canada, and truth be told, my real favorite sports broadcast is City Sports, Channel 7.
How about that save by Hoops?
There's the big block by Cliff Stevens. On the cross,
For all your local sports, watch City Sports Wednesday at 8:30 right here on Channel 7.
City Sports!
You're watching Cable Regina Channel 7, Regina Television.
Your community channel invites you to celebrate Canada in the capitals. Win a 5-day trip for you and 3 family members and celebrate Canada Day in one of Canada's capital cities. Call 1-800-704-8227.
In Gear is brought to you in part by Boston Pizza, come and get it all, the Regina Automobile Dealers Association, and Kings Park Speedway, we're kicking asphalt.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of In Gear, the show that puts you in the driver's seat. I'm Joey Hattisbeck, and along with my co-host Garth Stone, we've got another great show lined up for you this evening. 2 segments tonight. Barry Davies is going to show part 2 of his automotive adventure that he and our producer Randy went out to Earl Grey. We've got part 2 of that, and a little later on, test drive this week is going to be the Honda Odyssey, and from what Garth said, it's a great little minivan, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that. Couple things we always want to remind you about. Later on after the show, around 10:30, we're going to be going to Boston Pizza, and you can come on down and chat with us and our guests this evening about cars and racing and anything we talk about on tonight's show. So we look forward to seeing you a little later on. For now, though, Garth.
Joey?
How you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much. And I'd like to introduce everybody to Bill Blanchard. Bill is with the Racing Against Drugs program, and he's our special guest tonight. Bill, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Joey.
Let's start off and maybe do a little bit of an overview of what the Racing Against Drug program is, please.
Well, I guess it's best to give a history of what the Racing Against Drugs program is. It began actually in London, Ontario, and it was started by one of our drug enforcement people who got together with some of the racers in southern Ontario. And actually it was the racers came up with the idea, some way of using racing as a way to get a message to young people, particularly in the London area. And that's about 5-6 years ago, and it's grown from there. I looked at it for the province of Saskatchewan about 2-3 years ago. We went out and had a look at one of their presentations and saw just a natural way that it could work for our drug education programs in this province. And from that is come demands almost to the point we can't fulfill in respect to bringing the cars, bringing the racers out to, and we like to go to the communities. We actually like to go to the school and do the presentations. And it is just an alternative to getting a message to young people, and particularly we address anywhere from kindergarten to grade 8 is where our focus really is in respect to the education program.
As far as the racers go, we're on tour a lot. We have the cars at displays at the malls and things like that. The Racing Against Drugs stickers are on the cars. And personally, I've done the program once with you. And, you know, we talk about it not just when we're doing the schools, but throughout the province. And that way it gets out there, and it's a constant thing that people get a chance to see.
Yeah, and the really benefit, if you will, is that the racers have actually taken the ownership for it. And they are very, like racing, they're not competitive with the program, but they're very demanding of people who are involved in the program, and they expect the role model image to be part of it. So in a sense, I'm kind of sitting back watching what the racers are doing with the program, and you're right. Not only when we're doing a school or officially with the RCMP doing the presentation, or any police force for that matter, they're actually doing it on their own. And I get a lot of calls from racers saying, have you got any new pamphlets, new information that I can share with the people when I'm over at this venue or I'm doing something over here? And that's where the benefit, in addition to the school-based programs, happen.
You must be very fulfilled with the reaction to the program, and like you say, in only a 2 or 3 year period. What are some of the very ambitious plans I'm sure that you've got for the program in the future years?
We would like to take this 2 or 3 steps up. And I don't want to be a pessimist, but the demands on school-based programming and what resources we have right now are pretty limited. So in a sense, we do on the average of 8 school presentations a year. We do one big one during Drug Awareness Week. We will be at the tracks. There are special events like the Mustang convention in Saskatoon come September. We'll be at both car shows again this year, Dragons and Majestics. I would like to see it go further, and I think what's going to happen is that we're going to have to look for a coordinator for a police aspect, but give the racers more involvement and let them start setting things up. That way we can assure it's going to continue to grow.
Is there any way, maybe it's not possible, but is there any way to gauge the effectiveness of the program?
Ideally, we will not bring the racing team, if you will, the Racing Against Drugs team, unless a community already has a police-based drug and alcohol education program.
Okay.
The one we use in this province now is called DARE, Drug Abuse Resistance Education. We kind of set a criteria, if you will, like for instance, if Pilot Butte wishes to have the Racing Against Drugs program, first question to this community is, do you have a police association with a drug and alcohol education program? They have a DARE program, okay, we'll come. Because it's a fun thing for the kids. It's not designed to be the only thing for the children. From that then will come the development, and I've kind of lost focus right about now. You're going to have to remind me where I was going with this. If it has that in place, like a prerequisite being there, that's where the value comes.
Is it a joint venture, a co-venture? Is it strictly an RCMP production, or do you tie in a lot with the local police forces in areas where the RCMP aren't the local force?
What we've tried to do, the whole idea was to get the police officers back talking to kids. But it is a racers program, it's not a police program. We help coordinate it. And we can't run this program without the fellows involved in the sport of racing. Now, when I say racing, we have soapbox racers, we have motorcycle racers, we have cast car racers, we have super stocks, we have sportsman class. You name the racing, even mountain bike racing we'll bring in as well. So we actually give it to the racers. The difference, I just to digress a bit, we talked about London. They use a lot of professionals to do the presentation. We use racers to do the presentation. Like they'll bring in speakers and they'll bring in police officers. Our program, the presenters are the racers themselves. So there's a big difference. And how do we evaluate it? I don't think it's necessary because we're looking for them to have a good time. We already know that there is a drug education program going, and we know the value of that.
Right.
But curious enough, I did a presentation here yesterday at SIAS. This fella come up to me and he says, "You were at Balgoni School with the Racing Against Drugs?" I said, "Yeah," and that was 2 years ago. He said, "You know, my daughter, who's now in grade 6, still remembers that. In fact, she did a presentation in her class last week about alternatives to drug use." So, you know, when you ask for feedback or value,
Something like that.
boom, it hit me right between the eyes, because you usually don't get that, but it stuck with her.
And that's probably the only type of reaction that you can actually get
In
to
a lot of
games.
respects.
Yeah.
We try to look at it this way. We are all love sport racing of some sort. I don't think there's anybody that doesn't love it. So you get a child coming in school and seeing all these race cars, and it's impressive when you look at the people coming into this. It's amazing what it does. Then almost every weekend, there's something on the news, sport channels about racing, there's a connection. Now, they saw the race cars in grade 3 or 4. They are watching kart racing this weekend, or they see the Daytona 500 or the Indianapolis. There draws into an association between racing and the race cars being at the school. So in a sense, it's maybe a subconscious point. I don't know.
It was a lot of fun when I got a chance to come out to Pilot Butte, and there were some specifics that we did out there, and we're going to go into that a little bit more right away. But what we're going to do right now, folks, is we are going to see part 2 of Barry's automotive adventure. He and Randy, our producer, were out in Earl Grey and got a chance to see some great, beautiful old cars out there, and we've got part 2 of Barry's automotive adventure on In Gear.
Hey, there's Rudy Marischler, and you'll remember from last week that In Gear producer Randy Clark and I hit the highway and we arrived in Earl Grey, Saskatchewan. Why? Well, we heard about Rudy Marischler's very, very unique museum, and, well, we wanted to take you back again for another look. So we hope you enjoy this on Barry's Automotive Adventures.
Rudy, besides the automobiles that you've restored, you have gathered countless artifacts in your museum in Earl Grey. The camera right now taking a look at, it looks like a knitting machine, is that right?
Yes, that's a knitting machine. It came maybe out of the 30s. Those days, if the winters they was long, they used them for making scarves, socks, and different items.
Now, you have been all over Saskatchewan. You have gathered artifacts from just about everywhere. Why?
Yes, like I got to come back to my son again. He was the instigator and all that. And we like, the whole family likes antiques, so we got into it. We bought stuff on sales. We bought from friends. Some we got given to us. But if you are once in, you go on and on and on.
It's a never-ending chore?
That's right.
Rudy, thousands of artifacts, RCMP uniforms, we have tractor seats, license plates, flags, of everything that you have in your museum. What would be the most unique or favorite piece that you have?
That's many of them, and it's different things, you know. I like lamps, I like tractor seats, I like, you name it, Rudy likes it.
Radios?
Radios too, yes.
All right, we've also got the RCMP uniforms, and where did you get your hands on something like that?
RCMP uniforms I got from a buddy of mine in Regina. He just died recently, and he got me those uniforms.
Now,
or I purchased this from him.
So we're not going to get you into any trouble if we show these?
No, no, I don't think so.
It was absolutely incredible last time around. We enjoyed ourselves with the automobiles, the memorabilia that is absolutely priceless. Now we go from horsepower to real horsepower, Rudy, because in behind us we've got the
buggies.
That's right.
And here right behind here, we got they call it the doctor's buggy.
For good reason, I guess.
Yes, most of the doctors, they use the buggy like that.
Now, what year, just before we leave this buggy here, the doctor's buggy, what year would that originate in?
I would say in the late 20s, early 30s.
And it's been on the streets of Earl Grey and in other communities and parades, has it not?
That's right. It comes from the neighbor town, Boulier. So it must have been used in that area.
Okay, and Rudy, and this buggy is called a?
Democrat.
Okay.
Why they called it Democrat, I couldn't tell you myself.
I was going to ask, but now I know the answer. This one, again, has been in parades. It's been used for all kinds of community activities.
That's right, and that's why I got them for mostly parades. It's always attraction to have a buggy in a parade.
Where did you find this?
Right, this one here, I just hit the axle and I rebuilt it from ground up. The same with the Democrat. It's built up. It's just like new, from build up, ground up.
Absolutely incredible. All the upholstery work, everything's repainted. It looks like it just came out of the showroom.
That's all done by Rudy.
This is really absolutely incredible. Rudy, tucked in behind these buggies that are drawn by horses, more horsepower. What year is this? What model is this? And tell us the story behind the cost of this as well.
Yes, that's a 490 Chevy, a 1917. 490, that was the model. It was over the price of the car, 490.
I wonder if they had it planned that way.
Could be, but if you wanted headlights and starter, you had to pay $60 on top of it.
Now this one has been it's been fully reconditioned. All you're doing now is getting ready to paint and do some upholstery work.
That's right. So far it's done.
Okay, and then behind the Chev, Rudy, we've got a Model T truck, I believe.
Yes, it's a 1918 Model T truck.
Fully reconditioned.
That's right.
Another local product that you got.
Comes out of the Earl Grey area.
Got your hands on it, reconditioned it, and preserved it forever.
That's right. And used it many times in parades already.
Unbelievable. This man just never quit making sure that we could see all of yesterday today. Rudy, this has been a really incredible journey through time at your museum in Earl Grey, and again, we can't thank you enough. But before we go, we're kind of running out of time here. There's an Oldsmobile in behind that has some pretty special memories for you.
Yes, it's a 1966-98 Oldsmobile, a convertible.
If memory serves me correct, didn't that drive your son-in-law and daughter away after their wedding not too long ago?
That's right. That was in 1991.
Yeah, it seems like just yesterday, but I remember that car driving away, top down, and the lovely bride and groom waving at everybody.
Yeah, I had lots of fun that day.
It was a great day. I'd like to thank you very much again, and to your lovely wife, Frida, for, first of all, inviting us back home to Earl Grey, the home where my lovely and darling wife, Randy, grew up with your daughter, Tanya, and we can't thank the town of Earl Grey enough for inviting us back. Population 300, and by the way, if you're coming out and you'd like to take a look around Rudy's museum, what I would do is arrive on a nice warm day, be prepared to spend a little bit of time, and if you're not sure where you're going, ask anybody, because everybody knows Rudy Marischler. Rudy, thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
We said Earl Grey was a friendly place. Councillor Satilla, thanks very kindly for inviting us to your town, and Rudy as well, and I think you've got a message for all of Saskatchewan.
Yeah, I think I've been here for 25 years, really enjoyed the place, and I'd invite anybody to come down here and have a look and visit the museum and take a look at our town. And we'd sure enjoy having anybody come out here and live.
And who knows, they'll stay here.
Thank you.
And that's it for this week. Hope you've enjoyed Barry's Automotive Adventures. You never know where we'll turn up next. See ya.
Did you know drive-in theaters, now making a comeback, had their start in 1933. The first drive-in opened in Camden, New Jersey, June 6, 1933. Now, let's be honest here, how many of us really ever watched the films? I know Bill Blanchard said that he did. Well, of course, police officers never lie. In Auto World News tonight, there are a few big changes on the worldwide automotive scene to take note of. First, Ford Motor Company has reached what they call a memorandum of understanding to buy the Land Rover Company from BMW. Land Rover will become a part of Ford's premier automotive group, which already includes Lincoln, Volvo, Jaguar, Aston Martin, and boy, they're expected to sell somewhere in the neighborhood of 200,000 Land Rovers in year 2000 alone. Another partnering of names soon will be General Motors and Fiat. Those two companies have agreed to form an alliance in an effort to offset individual costs in the areas of materials and cross-share technologies. At the end of the deal, the General will control about a 20% stake in Fiat. Bad news for online automotive dealers. A new U.S. national study says many of the online car dealers in the States, anyway, have been misleading consumers about auto prices and providing quotes for vehicles which manufacturers can't even produce. Certain configurations cannot be built, however, you can order them that way. In one example, 8 different websites quoted 8 different prices as the manufacturer's suggested retail price for an identical vehicle, all being delivered to the identical place. As many of us now do at least some of our auto research online, it certainly can pay to include your local dealer in your comparisons. I should note the study did not include Canadian auto websites. Don't be surprised if you see Kermit the Frog being chased by Miss Piggy on Formula One cars soon. German media giant EMTV and Merchandising, which recently purchased the Jim Henson Company, is now in the process of buying up a 50% stake in Formula One racing. The cash and share deal is expected to be worth about $2.35 billion. Now to keep Joe happy, a quick look at last week's Winston Cup stock car race in Darlington, where it was Ward Burton pulling his Caterpillar Pontiac number 22 to victory lane, earning him a $132,000 payday and moving him up a few spots in the points chase. Winston Cup points chase currently has Dale Jarrett 5th. Dale, move it up. Ward Burton in front of him in 4th, Earnhardt 3rd. Second place right now is Mark Martin. Bobby Labonte is currently leading the way in points. Next race for the boys comes up this weekend at Bristol. And Joe, I believe that's one of your favorite tracks.
Yeah, that is definitely one of my favorite tracks. I love the little short ovals, lots of banging, bumping, and I'm looking forward to it. Who's in first again?
Bobby Labonte.
Yes.
Yes, I heard that.
All right.
And Earnhardt's in 3rd. So.
I know.
So your son's going to be happy with that.
Well, no, actually a couple of my friends. Christopher is a Jeff Gordon fan.
Jeff Gordon.
And Bobby and Tony.
Jeff Gordon, I believe, is in either 10th or 11th. So he's a little ways down. Only $420,000 in earnings so far for Jeff. That's way low after 5 races.
Yeah, you're in the top 10 still, and everybody's saying that you're having a horrible year. But for him, that is. But Earnhardt, I hate to admit it, he's looking very good. So that could be interesting as we come down the stretch. And
the Intimidator is coming back alive.
And Ward Burton, I like to try and get my little Ward Burton in there. Yeah. I love the after-race interviews with Ward. Looks awesome. You know, he's got a partner this year, and I think things are going to be very, very interesting.
It's going to be a very exciting season to watch, I think. And you and I were just talking there. Dodge has put on hold some of their testing for their NASCAR circuit.
Yeah, it's something that's actually on the website that I don't have right in front of me again, is actually Speed Vision has an interesting story. Ray Everingham and company are starting to put their program together, as well as Bill Davis Racing, and NASCAR is now saying, well, we're maybe going to start to change some of the shape of the cars. We're going to try and make them a little more generic, which is, you know, we were just talking amongst ourselves, no fun whatsoever. Part of the deal is you want to run specifically the brand of car that you are, and it's not just the power plant, it's the body style. And I know that there's a couple of quick cars that you have some fun with.
Well, I was listening to you and talking about speed and who's front running and everything else. Our cars might not necessarily meet up with Earnhardt's or anybody else, but we have some powers they don't. So in some cases, they can't outrun us.
You have the lights. You have the lights.
We have the lights.
That's always my favorite comment is, you know, you can go blasting down the highway as fast as you like, but the radio is still going to be faster.
Yeah, exactly.
Racing Against Drugs program and DARE, both of which are you're so heavily involved with. It sounds like the reception has been wonderful. It sounds like they are becoming very effective. That story of the young lady from Balgony, from Greenall School, that's wonderful to hear things like that. And this year, you said you're going to be at both car shows. You're going to keep moving it forward. What about adding more racers? Is that something you're always looking forward to do?
For the most part, yes. In a sense, we're very possessive of the program, and as the racers are very possessive. Most of it has been word of mouth. Joey knows some people who have been involved. They would be good spokespeople. The actual program itself, you know, there's basically 2 levels, if you will, for participation with Racing Against Drugs. Simply contact the RCMP Drug Awareness Service, indicate an interest. We send out some information on it, and it's a very short piece of information material indicating there's 2 levels. Number 1, we ask racers to put the decal, the Racing Against Drugs decal, on their car, and simply signifies that it's actually going to be, they wish to be part of the Racing Against Drugs program. Now, as far as they have to go with that issue is simply role model. You know, substance use at the track and when they're doing promotions and stuff, that's the extent. There are some, though, that want to take it 1 step further, and they agree to come and be available as work and business and other things happen, to come actually to the school. And the only criteria is, are you comfortable talking with children? And believe me, are your sponsors on your race car fair to be bringing to the school? Like, we don't want alcohol, tobacco, misleading messages to the young people. On the track, it's one thing, but at the school, we don't want a mixed message coming through. But there are many racers that say, yes, we would be part of the actual presentation program, or we can only do a couple of your public presentations type thing. So, and when we're doing a venue, I get on the phone, I'll phone Joey, can you make it such and such a place on a date? This is what we're gonna do, yep, I can be there, and we just draw from that. So the more racers we have interested, the more racers committed, it's the bigger bank, if you will, I can count on to do the presentations.
Joey, from a racer standpoint, you must really enjoy going out to do those presentations.
It's great because, you know, you get to go out and you get to talk about all the fun that you have with your race car, and you get to talk to the kids and bring some new fans into the sport. You know, we've talked about that and the important part about educating the kids a little bit. It's great to go out. Last year, I said we had gone out to Pilot Butte, and there was a number of us. There was myself with my CAS car, and there was a couple of dragsters out there, and there was also some Pro 4s out there. And it's great. You get to go out and you get to react with the kids and interact with the kids, and it was fantastic. We had so much fun. The kids were so interested and listened so much. And I think what it was is you get them to listen to the part about racing, and they're really paying attention, and then you don't preach to them about the drugs and the alcohol, but you bring it up. And, you know, you can use references like myself. You know, I haven't drank in a number of years, and I got a chance to tell the kids that. I said, I go out and I have my fun, and there's no way that if I was drinking and I was trying to operate my race car, that there'd be any way that I could do it on a proper level.
And not only on the racetrack, a lot of it, of our program is not strictly drug and alcohol issues, safety issues.
Right.
Who better can talk to young people about seatbelt safety, helmet safety, rules of the road? In spite of what you see on the track, there are some rules out there. But talking about appropriate, how they ride their bicycle and why it is so important. And it's amazing because these are the role models. And it isn't a police officer or a teacher talking about the issues. Now it's somebody that might race on the weekends, but also is firefighter, is a salesperson for one of the automotive dealerships, is in the media. And they start looking and saying, holy smoke, these people they're everyday people. They can relate to them. And I'm a little bit possessive of the program insofar as I watched the one down east. They use a lot of professionals. We have professionals here in a sense, they're sport, but they're down to earth and they're attainable. They aren't the whippy race team that have millions of dollars to race with or Formula One racers. The people we have in our program are down to earth and they're local, and that's what makes it work.
And it's great too, you know, you get the chance to get out there, and I think that we're talking to them at the right age. You know, my 2 sons, one's 2.5 and one's 8 right now, and we're talking to grade 1 to grade 8, and I think we've gone to a couple of the high schools as well. But that's when you've got to get the kids. That's when you've got to instill the values in them and give them an idea of the things that you can do and the fun that you can have, and not have, you know, the drugs, the alcohol, and the safety features. That was a big part of my conversation. I talked about all the things in my car, my roll cage, my fire suit, my helmet, and all of that, and how important that is as well.
The age is very important when we're talking about education programming, drug and alcohol use. grade 4, grade 5, grade 6 is the prime area that we, as a police agency, want to target initially. Like DARE, for example, it's a fairly comprehensive program. The officer actually is doing 17 separate presentations with one grade. But that's where the major focus is going to be. After that, it's not as comprehensive, but we come back and re-establish and talk them, because children grow up. And what's important to them in grade 4 is different in grade 8. So we have to have a different approach. And in some respects, that's where racing against drugs. We can bump racing against drugs up a notch. When we get into high school, now we can get into the automotive aspect. Right. We can get more into dealing with the engineering, if you will, and start relating that. One of the best stories I've ever heard was a racer was having problems with a group that we were talking to and couldn't seem to get their attention. He simply started pointing around. He said, "What's your worst subject in school?" And somebody said math, somebody said science. And he then started bringing in, and he was racing, I believe it was Superstock at that time. He started relating how he wished he had paid attention in school, because this is how math related to racing today.
What he's doing.
This is how math related. And all of a sudden, he got their attention. It was amazing. So when you get a different age group, racing can bring that up for us.
You were talking about the presentations and how you bring some of the cars out. I know Racing Against Drugs program, and DARE has some very special cars, and we'd like to show those right now. As a matter of fact, what we'd like you to do, Bill, if you wouldn't mind, sort of describe for us what everybody is going to be seeing and what these very special vehicles are.
I'm very possessive again of them. If you haven't noticed, I'm possessive of a lot of stuff today.
That's okay.
The cars you're going to see, one of them, both of them actually, the one there, one is the 98 Camaro Police Interceptor, and this is the 99 Mustang GT that's given to the Drug Education Program and DARE program by the Saskatchewan Ford Mercury Dealers Association. This particular car is running with a 4.6 liter engine, and it's rated around 265 horsepower. Our police units, our interceptors, we call them the PPP, Police Performance Package. And really the big difference between what you're seeing here, these automobiles, and one you'd say buy off the lot, chiefly it has the Revolution Eliminator. The computer system does not stop the engine from revving at certain height, which means top end is not really necessarily controlled. It's equipped with very strong, high-performance, heavy-duty suspension to keep the car sitting, and special tires. Forget what else we're putting into them. The brake system is heavy-duty because there's a lot of braking. They're all standard transmissions. When we first started experimenting with the Interceptors, we tried both automatics and standard transmission. Standard stood up better for us. So this one particularly, the Camaro that they're looking at right now, is actually the vehicle that's on Regina Highway Patrol Traffic Services as an enforcement vehicle presently.
You know, I had a chance to actually go to the RCMP Museum a little while ago, and there was an old Dodge out there in front, and it kind of put me in the mind of the Blues Brothers when the two of them are driving down the road. You know, it's got cop shocks, and it's got cop suspension, and it's got, and you've really come full circle with the vehicles that you're driving now. That Mustang, I saw it out on Albert Street last week, and it's just a great looking little car as well. I mean, it's lots of power, but it's also an attention grabber, I would imagine.
That is the main focus for it. The love affair we have with automobiles and police vehicles equipped in the way that we equip. And the Mustang that you see running right now is the chief display car we're using right now. And right now it's on the track at our driver training unit at the depot division. This is a fully operational police car. The only difference is it won't be used on highway patrol duties. It'll strictly be for the display area. And people just are attracted to it as soon as the car is in a community. And the other side too is a lot of our communities, because we're predominantly a rural policing unit, we're going to small communities, they don't get a chance to see these things. And it's amazing how it attracts the attention, that's the attention grabber, if you will.
I remember at Majestics last year, every time I looked over at where the display was set up, there was always just an incredible lineup of people there.
Yeah.
Garth, you want to take the Mustang or you want to take the Camaro?
Personally, you know what? I think I would want to take the Camaro out.
Oh, sure. Great, I was going to take the Camaro too. But the Mustang's the better one? Which one's the better one, Bill?
It depends on your point of view.
Yeah.
There are people who are Ford people and obviously people who are GM people. My preference, either one.
It doesn't
Either
matter.
one doesn't matter.
I will say, like the Interceptor that we're using right now is more horsepower. It has a little different performance package. That is the Camaro. But like we mentioned earlier, we still have radios in them. and really, I think this Camaro is running at around 325 horsepower. The Mustang running around 265 horsepower. So there is a difference there. But on the other side, contrary to what people think, it's not strictly speed on the highway. The idea of the Interceptor is predominantly radar enforcement. The idea is if you were encountering speeding, we want the interceptors to get up to speed, get the car stopped, so we don't get into long, drawn out, because the old cars, although the old Caprices had the same engine, but they just took longer to intercept the car.
Probably didn't have the same handling.
Exactly. And the idea is in some cases people lose sight of what they're doing, and we bring it to their attention quickly.
Real quickly, I would imagine.
Bill, we saw on there the Ford supplied by Saskatchewan Ford Mercury dealers. I know that there must be some other people who help out the program a lot.
Racing Against Drugs and DARE, for that matter, would not be in the province of Saskatchewan without Price Watcher Drug Stores. They, as a matter of fact, one of the board members happened to be in Estevan when we were doing a fairly big show there. And when he walked in and saw 400 kids at the pit stops, and we had about 9 pit stops, you could hear a pin drop. And watch what the kids, their attention and what they were learning and everything else. He called me over and said, we've got to get involved. And Price Watcher Drug Stores in the province, and I believe their parent companies, United Pharmacists Incorporated, are huge supporters. Also, the Saskatchewan Elks Association, and one of the venues that raises a lot of funding for both Racing Against Drugs and DARE is the annual Peace 100 Snowmobile Rally in Nipawin. And that's a fun thing. They are people that have visions in respect to education, and they are predominant supporters right now.
We appreciate their support. We also want to let you know that we do have the phone number up, 565-5376. If you have any questions for Sergeant Blanchard about the DARE program or about Racing Against Drugs, why don't you give us a shout? And Joey, I believe we've got a call right here. So hi there, welcome to In Gear.
Hello, I have 2 quick questions, please.
Fire away for us.
The first one, you hear of drug testing from everything from baseball to golf. Is there any programs in place for NASCAR or F1 that you know of, or I've never heard of any?
Bill, have you heard of that? I'm not positive.
My understanding is CASCAR has a drug and alcohol policy. Whether they do in fact do drug testing, but I know they have it within an organizational policy, if you will, and but I've never heard of them. And I suspect that NASCAR does as well. Anybody at that level of professional racing, they must have something like that in place. Otherwise, things can happen, and they will cover that. But I know they have policy, but do they test? I don't know.
I've actually heard that some of the IndyCar teams, I don't know if the IndyCar or the CART, the Championship Auto Racing Teams organization, has a global system of testing, but I have heard that some of the individual teams do tests not just on the drivers, but on the pit crew and everybody else as well. That was one question. What was your other one?
Secondly, I heard, well, a couple of years ago when the RCMP first introduced the Mustang as part of their fleet, there was talk of discontinuing because of trouble on gravel roads. Is that true, or now they keep them on pavement, or?
Bill, we don't see the Mustang out there very often right now.
You probably aren't going to see any of the Interceptors on gravel. They don't handle well on gravel with the high-profile tires and everything. But the caller is exactly right. What has happened, and just very briefly, how we arrive at what car we're going to use in this any given year is that we go out with a specification that we require for Interceptors: so much horsepower, suspension, whatever they set that particular time. And then all automotive dealers are requested to bid. It's the federal government, low bid gets it, so to speak. And we did start with the Mustangs, and the performance on highway pavement was absolutely excellent. And the caller, you're right on. With the profile tires that they were using, and in some cases the power behind the car, it isn't a car that you can use on gravel road. It simply will not control it. It just unsafe to use it. So have they used it on gravel? Yes, they have. And I've driven both on gravel. I prefer not to. But there's no, Ford does not have less performance than Camaro, so to speak. It's just those types of cars cannot be used for interception on gravel roads.
Hope that answers your questions.
Thank you.
Thanks for your call. I'm curious, as an officer, do you have to go through special training to be in the high performance, the Camaro or the Mustang?
Pretty well anybody who is driving, without exception, anybody who's going to be operating the Interceptors have to go through a high-speed driving course. And they must be successful in that before they're qualified to operate that car as a enforcement vehicle.
So if Joey and I come out and play on the pursuit course out there, you might be able to get us for a ride in the Camaro?
I think we could arrange for that, yes.
That'd be fun.
I got to imagine that there's a huge lineup. Is it something that's a bit of a prestige thing amongst the guys and ladies that are in the force, or is it just another tour of duty?
Well, no, their traffic services, the highway patrol, if you will, does attract a certain group of law enforcement people that are really truly interested in doing this type of work. It has its exciting moments. It has its routine as well. And some people aren't really interested in the higher levels of enforcement, and that's a requirement with patrol services. And what's benefit from that is that we continually get very high quality individuals and obviously have an interest in automobiles because then they get the chance to drive it. So maybe that's an enticement of some sort, I don't know.
There's one gentleman I know has a very high performance Dodge that he races at SIR and around as well, the Hot Pursuit Racing Team. It's got the colors on the car. And I know it's affiliated in somewhat, but it's not something that's sponsored by the RCMP. It's a gentleman that drives it, and I've seen that, and it does very, very well.
I appreciate that. We have a soapbox deckled up like a police car. Mm-hmm. We have a 74 Fiat road racer that's done up like a police car, and we're just doing a Honda motorcycle right now. And Ian Mitchell is the fellow you're talking about, and he is on traffic services out of the Saskatoon district, and he's racing that 74 Duster with RCMP colors. The Racing Against Drugs program, the only part we have in ownership, if you will, is that we get the authorization to put the decals and put the color scheme on because they're actually an RCMP color scheme and they're not just for everybody.
Once again, if you have any calls for Sergeant Blanchard, 565-5376. Give us a shout, and we would love to answer your calls. And maybe you're a racer yourself and you wanted to find out a little bit more information on how you could get the decal on your car and what the prerequisites may be to get your decal on the car, or to get the decal on your car, rather. From the other officers, is there a lot of support for the program?
It's wonderful. All levels, not just the uniform enforcement people, the plainclothes drug enforcement people, people working federal enforcement have all volunteered to come out, and anybody going to Dragons or Majestics will see them there. They believe in the program and want to be part of doing some of the education program. So it's not just drug services, it's not just a highway patrol initiative. We do have city police, Brad Marshall and Joey, I know you know Brad out of Saskatoon. With the Saskatoon Police Force, he is very active with our Racing Against Drugs program. There is no criteria like you have to be an RCMP officer, so to speak. It is a police initiative, but we're only there to highlight some issues, that's all.
You've got some great teams as well. One that comes to mind is Team Boss Blue, Kenny Boschman and all the racers. Charlie Curtin in the Cask Car Super Series now. The Eat More Funny car, also part of that. Kenny with his tractor pull. That's a team I think that's been on board from the start, or pretty close to the start. That's helped you in a lot of ways, I think.
Yeah, Kenny and Team Boss Blue, and for the most part the people out of Saskatoon, but also some of the Pro West pullers. Provost, Alberta, we have people from Medicine Hat, Hunter Pulling, they're involved with our program as well whenever we're out in that area. Mm-hmm. Bob Davidson and Swift Current, who also owns the McDonald's restaurant there, has a McDonald's dragster, and Bob is just a super spokesperson for us. We knew that would happen because he used to be a member of the RCMP.
So that's always a good start, right?
That was a good start. His credibility was already set for us, but no, Kenny is I don't think Kenny has missed a show for us unless it's in the south, because it's a long way to bring his unit down. But Eat More Funny Car and Charlie Curtin have just been absolutely superb spokespeople for it.
I know locally as well, with drivers out of Kings Park Speedway, Paul Leitner comes to mind, and there's an awful lot that are showing the decal.
Dave Kindred, Pro 4, and his group, OK Racing, ET Racing, Ernie and Terry, just wonderful. I have to really mention Terry, because watching him with kids is really amazing, and you saw it. He is a person that is almost like a wind-up toy. He
Just
gets,
a little bit.
but he is so effective with young people. And you can see the passion, if you will, come out when he's talking. And I saw it from you, and we see it from all the racers. And watching it build when they're talking to youth. Because they're going to do, in a typical drug and awareness presentation, Racing Against Drugs, the racers are going to do 8 separate presentations, each about 8 minutes long. That's a fair amount of talking. But racing enthusiasm brings it out, and it doesn't seem to be a big imposition to them.
It was really easy off the top too. You know, like I said, the kids are just so interested, and it's such a blast. The cars are there on a weekday afternoon. They get to come out of class, and it was really a lot of fun. And I think more of the racers that hopefully are watching the show tonight will get in touch, and we'll give them some places to do that a little later on as well. Folks, don't forget, if you've got some calls, if you've got some questions for Bill, or you want to make some Dale Jarrett shots, whatever you like, 565-5376. Sorry. That's what happens when you let me sit in the middle seat.
Put him in the middle seat, and he starts taking shots at my Dale Jarrett guy. He's a good racer.
I know.
He's the reigning champion. Let's not forget that.
I know. I should be nicer.
Bill, if I could, we've seen the Racing Against Drugs decal. Maybe could you put up the dare? I believe you've got the dare one there.
No, I didn't bring a dare
have
decal
dare?
with me.
Okay.
But it's dare. It says dare.
Okay.
And I guess that's the easiest way to explain it. We haven't involved the dare decal as part, if you will, with the Racing Against Drugs, but that might be a good point. Do a double shot at it for that reason. But dare is relatively new here. We started it 2 years ago with only 8 people. And it's progressed to where we have 60 right now. We will do more training this year. And it is one of the programs that really is time committed, but the information, like the Racing Against Drugs, the feedback we're getting from the kids, and that's the important, but also parents, it's amazing what it's been doing.
Now we're going to take a test drive of the Honda Odyssey here in just a few minutes. An amazing, amazing vehicle. But first off, I think we've got another call here, so let's see who's on the line. Hi, welcome to In Gear.
Hi, how are you doing this evening?
I'm great, how are you?
Good, good.
Good.
Actually, I want to know who we call or how we get in contact to get involved with the Racing Against Drugs. We're a small race team, but it's just an excellent program, and I think we would really enjoy getting involved with it.
The best way to get a hold of us is in respect to, I'll give you the telephone number, it's my office number. You will get voicemail because I'm not there a whole lot, but it's 780-7499. Just leave me a message with a return call, and if you like, your mailing address, and I'll send out the general information package to you. And when I get that back, and then I'll be forwarding out the decals and things of that nature. And if there's any more questions, there's additional contact telephone numbers there. But we'll get that information to you. Again, it's 780-7499.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks for your call.
All right, we're going to continue with Bill and company in just a bit, but right now we are going to get into test drive. And this week, the Honda Odyssey. Garth says it's a great little minivan.
It was.
Let's take a look right here on In Gear.
This week, it's our final look at minivans for quite a while at least, but what a way to wrap things up. This week, we take out the very impressive Honda Odyssey, and impressed we were, right from the time we picked it up at the showroom. Okay, sure, there are plenty of people who would say it's not possible for a minivan to be sporty, but in this class, our testers felt the Odyssey was about as close as you can get. great lines, clean, smooth edges, and attractive wheels. And the Odyssey ties the Ford Windstar as the longest front-wheel drive minivan, even though the Honda's wheelbase is about 3 inches shorter. The long and the short of it is, Odyssey is a one-size-only minivan. Extended length. It's what most buyers want, and whether you need cargo room, people room, or both, extended length is what most of us need. The base platform gets its heritage from the Honda Accord and the Acura TL and provides a comfortable ride for all. Indeed, if looks were all it took to make that buying decision, I'm sure the Honda would be up near the top of your list. But of course, when it is time to buy, there is much more than just the outside to consider. And with that in mind, why don't we open things up right now and take a look inside? And look at this, it only gets better. A great-looking front dash, wonderful fit and finish, and large, cozy seats. I'm a big guy and I'm used to having to squish into seats in foreign cars, but not here. Here it's large cushions and good support. As for the cockpit and front passenger area, Honda's done its research well. The Odyssey has one of the cleanest and least cluttered front panels we've seen, with visible surfaces gently sloped. Up top on the center stack is the automatic environmental controls. Just set the temperature you like and the Honda does the rest. This can be overridden with manual controls for front and rear areas. Next up, it's the audio system. AM/FM cassette with 4 speakers is standard on the LX, but step up to the EX and that changes to a 6-speaker system with in-dash CD. Well placed in the lower part of the stack is the regular drawer for cup holders and in this case, coins. But now let's move on down. Like most Minis, the Odyssey has a large lower storage compartment for the usual things like toys or CDs. And with no center console here, this pocket will likely get used frequently. Below that, a 12-volt power point to power up the cell phone or radar detector. The dash itself is well laid out with large, easy-to-read gauges and indicator lights, and on the LX model, audio volume controls are placed conveniently on the steering column. That's also where you can find the cruise controls, and as you know, that's exactly where I like to see them. Then we look left of the steering column. That's where you'll find a panel housing switches for traction control, cruise control power, mirror adjustments, and buttons to operate the rear power sliding doors on the up-level EX model. Now let's look up, way up. Up top is where you'll find a sunglasses pocket, dome and reading lights, and also a trainable HomeLink transmitter, allowing one to operate up to 3 remote items like garage doors. Earlier I mentioned there is no center console in the Odyssey, but in its place, Honda has provided a good-size, flip-up, expandable table with 4 large cup holders. Different, but most of our testers thought this was just a great idea. Just don't drop the table with drinks on top. Now, how about this? Power seats aren't unusual, but on the Odyssey, add on a power recliner. With this, finding that perfect seat back adjustment is a snap, and right now, that perfect adjustment is fully reclined. Nighty-night. Okay, I know, back to work. Let's open the driver's side rear slider and look inside. Once again, large, comfortable seats, and once again, that special attention to detail that Honda is so famous for. Details like this. We've seen it before on other Minis, but the Odyssey gives you the choice of separate bucket seats, or by stepping up, reaching underneath the seat, pulling on a lever, then leaning the seat forward and sliding it over, you get a full-size bench. This use of space just seems to make sense. One more door on the passenger area to open up, so let's get to it. It's the rear hatch, and it's back here the Odyssey really got our attention. Like the Mazda MPV, there is a good-sized well for golf clubs and groceries, but right now let's remove the headrests, and you'll see a feature every rider fan or mom and dad who like to picnic will love. I'm talking about what Honda calls the magic seat. So let's pull on this lever, say abracadabra, and check this out. You're all ready for that tailgate party on game day. Now, where did I put that pop? But let's say you need to carry the bevies to the party. No problem. The magic seat goes the other way, too. Let's just fold this right back up right now. Then what we're going to do is drop the seat back. We'll pull on another lever, and we'll also grab a hold of this handy strap. And oh yeah, we have to say abracadabra. The whole rear seat drops into the well that we spoke up earlier. You want to take it one step further, leave the captain's chairs at home, and the Odyssey gives you enough cargo room to carry even full 4x8 sheets of plywood. Like we said with the MPV, kudos to the Honda engineers who created not only plenty of usable space, but also the built-in flexibility to get to that space easily. So there you go. Inside and out, the Honda Odyssey seems to be a great package to park in your driveway. It looks great, runs well, rides nicely, and has all the amenities and toys you could want. Yes, you do pay a bit of a premium for all this, but not as much as you might think. A base model LX Odyssey starts a little over the 30 mark, but changing that to an EX with all the bells and whistles only adds in the neighborhood of about $3,000, and with that comes powered rear doors, the up-level 6-speaker stereo, the power-adjustable driver's seat, keyless entry, the automatic climate controls, and more. In my humble opinion, the EX is worth the extra cash. But wait, we still haven't talked about the power plant. Let's do that now. Honda's 3.5-liter V6 turns out 210 horse, the largest number shown amongst all minivan contenders. More than enough power for everyone, no matter where you're going. And the best part, it is quiet as well. That makes for a nice combination. Note, though, the Honda does recommend premium fuel in the Odyssey, but according to one article I read, it will run on regular with just a slight loss of power. Talk to your dealer about that. All in all, the Odyssey proved to be a great way for us to wrap up our look at minivans, and we want to say thank you to AJ Delory and all of our friends at Regina Honda for providing us the Honda Odyssey this week. Stop in for a test.
Did you know in Japan a parking spot is a requirement of vehicle ownership? Authorities there won't register a personal vehicle without proof you bought or rented a parking spot for the car. Probably not a bad idea, particularly in Japan where there aren't very many parking spots and there's an awful lot of cars.
Exactly. So something that I don't think we're going to see here in the near future, but you never know.
It's not a bad idea. It's nice to have somewhere to park it. It's nice to have somewhere safe to park it as well.
Couple things I have to do quickly. Hello, Christopher. Hello, Riley. I forgot to say hi to my boys the last couple of weeks, so there, I did. And,
hi, Christopher. Hi, Riley.
There, even Garth said hello. And Alan, thank you very much for the offer for the die-cast. I had a gentleman phone me at work the other day, had some die-cast cars for sale, and I'm a bit of a Roush Racing fan, but not that much to get those. So thanks very much, Alan. And folks, you're always welcome to drop us a line at, of course, our email address, which is channel7@cableregina.com if you've got some comments or suggestions. And there's a couple other websites that I'd actually like to bring up as well, Bill, where people can go and get a little bit more information. I went out and took a look. There we've got the high performance racing, actually the Hot Pursuit Racing up on the screen right now. They can go to that website and see a little bit more about the Duster that we were talking about. Mm-hmm. And then as well, we've got one other site that we'd like to show you, and that is the actual Racing Against Drugs program. There's a little bit of information, not a lot, but your number is on there, and they can definitely get in touch with you if they want to get involved.
It's curious now, if you go into the CASCAR website, you'll see the Racing Against Drugs logo attached to that organization now.
That's right.
And that's fairly new. The new, I understand there's a new owner or new CEO of CASCAR. And apparently, and I haven't met him, but he likes the program. He wants to dovetail some of their issues with the Racing Against Drugs program.
We're getting close to the wrap-up. One more time, let's get some information on how people can get a hold of you to find out more about the program.
Well, and I appreciate Joey just did it. You can go in and get the number out of the website, or it's a Regina number, and it's, again, 780-7499. And what will happen from that is if I have an address and a name, I will simply mail out the material in respect to what Racing Against Drugs is and what it's about. And so a little bit of information as to what the requirement of the persons getting involved might be. Like I say, there's a 2-level, if you will. And obviously, anytime I can sit down with people who are interested and have a coffee with them, because I want the program to be successful, in fairness to the racers and to the children that have an opportunity to see the program. So we look for good, positive role models. So if racers or people involved in racing sport, and like I say, it can be skateboard, it could be extreme sports, anything with wheels or something that's going to move are more than welcome. I have 2 nephews in Swift Current who race motocross. One of them is actually rated 7th in national for his, he's racing 125. It's amazing what young people will do.
Bill, thank you so much for being on the show with us.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate this.
Folks, don't forget to come on down to the Quant Street location of Boston Pizza. We're going to be there shortly. And again, Bill, on behalf of Garth and myself, thank you very, very much for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Folks, that's going to do it for another edition of In Gear. Be sure to come back and see us again next Thursday night at 9 o'clock here on Channel 7.
Boston Pizza. Come and get it all. The Regina Automobile Dealers Association. And Kings Park Speedway. We're kicking asphalt.
Chances are, we'll spend time right here showing you ways of knowing which used parts are good and which parts belong, well, here on the scrap heap. These places are gold mines for backyard mechanics.
You're a teen, Garth?
And the service is great, too. In Gear, Thursday nights at 9 here on Channel 7. Great tea, Bear.
Hey, rose hip and decaffeinated, of course.
Your community channel invites you to celebrate.
In conjunction with the University of Regina School of